a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack of rock.
Jex Russell.
Hello, Mike.
Jexit stage left.
How's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Oh, man. The weekend is here. Can't complain.
Can't complain. Maybe we should address the elephant in the room on your face, I should say. Should we do that right away?
I don't know what you're referring to, Mike.
Well, let me put it this way. Every week we like to start the show with a little something called Ask Harrison. Now, Harrison isn't here today because he's sleeping. So today we have something called Ask Jex. You ready?
I'm always ready. I was born ready, Mike.
Jeff Taylor.
Yeah, how can I help you? Oh, here's Jex.
Yeah.
Why did you even?
Harrison couldn't make it today, buddy, but yeah, I know.
Why did you even grow a mustache?
That's the Ask Jex question for this week. It's either got to be a beard like this man or clean shaven like this man.
There you go.
So what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, that's a good question, Jeff. Great question. All right, Mike. Give me a close-up, if you please.
Sure.
You see, Jeff, I take my appearances here at Grab a Stack of Rock very seriously. Only this isn't just your average everyday appearance. This time I'm co-hosting. And I have some big shoes to fill. Those of a certain Mr. Harrison Cobb, a.k.a. the Mad Metal Man, a.k.a. the Wonder from Down Under. Nobody calls him that. Anyway, so I had very little bit of time, so not enough time to grow, glorious, majestic locks of hair such as he has. So basically all I could do in such little time is have similar facial hair such as he does. So it's the best I could do. That's one answer.
That's an excellent
answer, which is the more truthful answer, is that I was just tired of the beard, man. After a while, the beard just does its own thing, and I get tired of it, so I shave it off. But there's a certain someone, my wife, who's not a fan of the clean shaven, so I have to make a compromise, and this is the best I could come up with, and now everybody's happy. So
I should tell you right now, we have an active chipmunk situation.
Oh,
so Chipmunk Cam is active today.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so Jon Snow says you look like a porn star, which
that's everybody. My boss around the office, that's what my boss calls me, a 70s porn star. My coworker Jonathan calls me Ron, as in Ron Jeremy. So yeah, the jokes, and you know what? That just makes me want to keep it longer. I'm like, bring it on. It's a test of endurance.
I agree. All right, so today you are visiting me at the cottage. We are doing a list of cottage rock. Well, not cottage rock per se, but we're doing lists of albums that we would like to listen to at the cottage. Yes. But before we get started, I just wanted to real quick go off script a minute here. Everybody here knows my friend, the California girl. And, this summer we were doing the 3:00 time slots on Friday. And unfortunately, she has elected not to participate this summer and Grab a Stack of Rock, which, it's very sad for me because I like to share my cottage with my friends. I always have, ever since I was a kid. It's always been, I love this place. We have chipmunks I'd like to introduce you to. And I would just like to say my appreciation to Jex Russell for taking his time out of his weekend to visit me at the cottage this weekend. And also pinch hitting last time we were at the cottage. He kind of stepped in at the last minute and saved me from having to do a solo show. So I just want to give you my appreciation, Mr. Jeremy, and thank you so much for being the friend to visit at the cottage today.
It's my pleasure, man. It's I love it. It's it gives me a taste of the cottage because I'm at the office, not as exciting. So, it gives me a little bit of a.
He's a sneaky guy. I'm not fast enough. I'm not fast enough to catch him on camera.
No, excuse me. I'm just in the process of sharing this stream to my page here real quick. I wasn't able to do so before.
Okay. And while you do that, I don't think I'm going to be able to catch this guy live. He's just too damn fast for me. So instead, I'm going to upload a video that I took just before the show.
Oh.
So that is uploading right now. And shall we get started on these lists?
Man, yes, let's do it. I'm pumped. I'm excited to see what you have.
And we have a bonus list from Mr. Rob Daniels from CKWR Visions and Sound. And
Robert.
I'm going to start with his list, and then we'll go Rob, Jex, Mike.
Perfect.
And we'll start with number 11. Because we are doing, oh, geez, I forgot this. Hang on a second. We're doing a little thing called
Nigel, the top 10. Nigel, the top 10. Oh, this one's gone to 11. The top 10. Nigel.
For the record, this is our first Nigel Tufnell top 10 in over a year. So
My very first. I've never done one of these.
yeah, you've never done a list show with me ever. This is our first.
Yeah.
So Mr. Daniels starts with a prelude. He says, this was a hard list as I was torn between choosing individual albums or just choosing all 80s compilations, something we've discussed. I was successful with one exception, and it's not even an 80s compilation. So stay tuned for that. Rob's number 11 from 1981, Phil Collins, Face Value. He says, while this seems rather low on the list, that should tell you just what the rest of the list is going to be like. This album plays best on that lazy cottage Saturday afternoon just after lunch. While I knew about this album back in 81, I did not hear it in its entirety until almost 92 on a college road trip to a friend's cottage. Hence, it has always been a cottage album for Rob. I love that.
Very nice. Very nice. Good pick. I don't know if I've ever heard that album in full, but see, this is going to give me inspiration on stuff to check out.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. I got my little shoebox here. I brought physical media to the party here.
Thank you for doing so, because I was oh, shoot. You know what? I forgot the unboxings. We're going to do the unboxings after we're done our number 11 round.
Let's do that.
Because there is some important stuff here. And Tim's waiting.
So my number 11. Okay, real quick, before I get into that, I should say this was a hard list for me too, much like Rob said. Because for me, you got to get yourself into the cottage state of mind. You want like calmness, right? Like you don't want like thrash metal at the cottage. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe. But at the same time, as much as I want calm stuff, I want some rocking stuff too, man. You know, you can be calm all the time. So I got a little blend. I got a little balance of both. And I think I came out of it pretty well. I don't know. You'll a lot of these are a little out of character. I think I might surprise some people. Good. So just now, this is my number 11.
Nice.
This is a compilation. I have quite a few compilations on here because compilations just work. Sometimes at the cottage, you don't want full albums. You just want the best of the best. So this is definitely his best of the best, Photographs and Memories.
Very familiar with that.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always had one of those in stock at the record store.
Right. It's good stuff. Like I said, it's
and great mustache.
That's what I'm saying, right? Look at that. Look at that.
Okay, there's our screenshot for the YouTube video right there. 10:06.
Yeah, guys, I was trying to think, okay, calm music for the deck. And then I just started hearing the acoustic guitar for Operator. And I was like, that's, you know, and then Bad Leroy Brown and Time in a Bottle. This is some great stuff for the deck. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Twins, says Chris Sarr. All right, cool. My number 11. This is one that Uncle Meat used to give me shit about. I love it on the deck, and I've played it on the deck a number of times. Peter Criss from 1978.
Ooh.
What makes this album perfect for the cottage porch? He wondered. For me, it's mellow. It fits the vibe. But most importantly, I got it for my birthday in 87. Whatever year they were issued on cassette for the first time, Mr. Durling will know. Reissued on cassette, I should say. I totally worded that wrong. It wasn't issued on cassette for the first time. Reissued on cassette in the 80s. Yeah. It's either 87 or 88, my birthday. And that completed my Kiss collection, getting all 4 solo albums for my birthday. I played all 4 solo albums in alphabetical order about 2 to 3 times that birthday weekend at the cottage. So I associate it, obviously. The important thing, though, is that it was adult-oriented rock, and that kind of jived with I was able to play it in the car with my mom. It sounded like the kind of stuff that it would be on her clock radio, you know, that kind of thing. So I know for a fact that we played it in the car at the cottage, and that mellow vibe, it just hit. And look at this. We got John T. Snow WTFing. Okay, so I'm sorry. I did forget to do the unboxing at the beginning of the show, and it is important because we have some merch from tpublic.com and something from Derling. And this is important because we're going to do a costume change mid-show.
Not me.
No, you're all buttoned up. You don't do casual Friday, Jex?
I do. I wore this especially for the show. I mean, look
really?
Look at these wings. This is vintage from the 70s, man. Look at this.
So you can get this at the Grab a Stack of Rock store on tpublic.com, but I was really excited to try out a double-sided shirt.
Oh.
So on the front, we have the faces. There's Spenny, myself, Harrison, Grace Shield, Kevin, Buried on Mars, yourself, T-Bone, and Derling.
Nice.
And then on the back, now we have back print.
Oh, that's
Grab a Stack of Rock logo.
I like that.
Now, I've since adjusted this. I've made the logo smaller on the new version of the shirt.
Okay.
But, let me know what you think. Now it's time to get rid of this NASA shirt, which I wore for our good friend Grace Shield. You met her last time at the cottage.
Yeah.
So we're going to depart from the moon, and we're going to come back with this. So, Jex, if you wouldn't mind just taking over a brief moment while I change costumes.
Okay. Yes. We're not going to show that. This is not a topless live stream. This is PG, folks. Come on.
This is PG.
Regardless of what you said.
The family show.
This is a family show.
Besides, I can see myself. I can see myself in the camera, unshirted, and you do not want to see it. Trust me. Okay, we are ready to debut
the new shirt.
The new shirt. So here we go. There's the new Faces shirt. And
this is what I was going to say was.
Can you see that?
Yeah, that looks great, Mike.
So like I said, I've rejigged the shirt a little bit, made the back logo a little bit smaller. But, people, let me know what you think.
Yeah.
And this next one is actually not mine. This is Jen's. She wanted a new hoodie. Oh, no, she didn't. She just ordered shirts. I thought the hoodie might be coming in a separate shipment.
The lies.
So that's upside down.
It's upside down, yeah.
So she got the ladies tank top, I guess.
Right on.
With the same graphic, but I really like this pink one. I really like the look of this pink one.
Oh yeah. So are those double-sided?
This is the double-sided.
Okay.
And I was thinking about getting a double-sided in pink myself, actually. I like pink.
Hey.
Nice shirts.
True men wear pink.
Finally. You know what this is, apparently.
Yes, I do. Until this morning, I didn't, but now I do.
Okay. We are depackaging this. Says it's a cassette tape from Vienna, Virginia. My wife texts me and says, you got mail from Joe Constantini in Virginia. And I'm like, I don't know anybody in Virginia, let alone a Joe Constantini.
Thanks, Joe.
So Mr. Derling was responsible. Anytime mystery mail shows up from an address I don't recognize, it's Derling. All right, we're just going to have to rip this sucker open. Joe Constantini packages his cassettes very securely. Okay. Yeah.
Let's see it.
There's a story here. This is not something that does not have a tale behind it. That's interesting. Look at that. It's featuring. It doesn't have the full track list on the front. 2 records set on 1 cassette. Now, Tim has been telling me to buy In the Beginning by Journey, which is a compilation from the first 3 Journey albums, the Greg Rowley on lead vocals, no Steve Perry years. And I've been saying, I don't need that, Tim. It's expensive. And, I got all these songs. I have all these songs. I could literally make a file folder on my computer with all of these songs and listen to Journey in the beginning. And he's like, no, you need it. You need it. And I'm like, you know what, Tim? I'm going to try to get other Journey albums to complete my Journey collection, such as some of the Japanese bonus track editions that I'm missing. And he's like, no. Get in the beginning. Well, the thing about Tim Derling is he's a very generous man, for one thing. He has sent me a number of albums, but when he wants you, and he thinks that you're going to enjoy it, if he wants you to listen to something, he finds a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I owe Tim Derling a massive thank you.
And, I've learned a thing or two from Tim, and I'm going to go ahead and say that that's a U.S. issue of In the Beginning. And
it does look completely unfamiliar from, my... Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because all Canadian issues I've seen have the full track listing in the front.
Oh, Chippy's back.
Oh, Chipmunk Cam.
He's after the peanuts. Oh my God, he already went through the entire pile.
Hungry little fella.
Hungry. All right, back to the lists.
Let's do it.
Right now buried in merch. Back to Rob with his number 10. And I will confess, we may see this album again. Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1 from 1988. What a great album for just before lighting the campfire. It has great songs to sing along with, and the flow is fantastic, especially from the songs Last Night right through to Tweeter and The Monkey Man. You just can't help but sing out. I will have more to add on this later, so perhaps we'll just skip ahead to Jex.
Okay. All right. Good pick.
Thank you.
The other one is also out of character, as my number 11 was. And again, this just felt right. When I think of these songs, I think of sitting on the deck, possibly drinking a beer or a beverage of choice, chilling with some family, some friends. And I went with All Over the World.
Oh, Harrison would appreciate this.
Yeah? He's into ELO?
Oh, you have to talk to Harrison about ELO.
I'm not very knowledgeable on the band. I know the hits, obviously. I think that's why I like this one so much. Oh, actually, that's not true. I have an album on vinyl called Time, which is also very good. But yeah, like opening up with Mr. Blue Sky, talk about just...
how can you go? Yeah.
Right?
It just kicks it off.
Everything else, Evil Woman, even the Rock and Roll is King, which is later. This captures their best stuff from 1973 to 1983. 20 songs on here. So, you're on the deck for well over an hour. And yeah, it's just a fun time. I can't think of anything else to say. I didn't take notes on anything to say, but more peanuts. Yeah. Don't Bring Me Down.
I love that song so much.
Right?
A lot of staples there. So I'll just show you guys what I'm dealing with here right now.
Yeah. He took a sneak peek at Rob's notes.
What a little sneak, eh? Anyway, that's what I'm dealing with here.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you for bringing the nature to my office space.
Hey, man, that's what the summer show is all about.
Yeah.
And that's another benefit to doing it this time in the afternoon, because those guys don't come around in the evening.
Oh.
Not as much anyway.
Perfect.
All right, so you're number 10.
That was my number 10.
It was your number 10. See, I told you we were going to get mixed up.
It's all good.
I cheated for my number 10. I picked 2 albums, but technically there's a box set with both albums in one box. So Queen, classic Queen and greatest hits from 92.
Yes.
I got the classic Queen in the summer of 92, around July-ish. So I say cheating here by including 2, but they are in box sets that include both. So Na 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 Boo Boo. Classic Queen dominated the bedroom during the summer of 92, and greatest hits took its place in 93, because I got it for Christmas of 92. This was the kind of music I could play with my parents. My dad's actually a Queen fan. He was first exposed to them when they did the reissue of Metropolis in the 80s with Queen music. So that's how he got familiar with Queen. So we would listen to it on the porch or at the beach even. I had a portable tape deck. And today, Jen loves listening to Queen with me on the porch. For me, best track for porching is Crazy Little Thing Called Love. Perfect for summer dancing and air guitar.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think I've ever met anyone who doesn't like Queen. It's like, it's almost impossible not to like them. There's always something to like.
Yeah. You have issues if you don't like Queen.
You heard it here, folks.
Now, Mr. Durling will appreciate Rob Daniels' number 9. And this is an unexpected one.
That's the band. Here's the band.
I'm sorry, I'm behind on the comments. I'm not 100% sure what band he is meaning now.
Either Journey or ELO.
Hello, Mike. How are you? Thank you for joining. Thank you. I appreciate that you were looking forward to this all week. Hope you didn't miss too much. We're at number 9 now. Okay, so Rob Daniels, number 9. Oh, Jex ELO is the band he's talking about.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay. Tim, Rob Daniels, number 9, is Journey Escape from 1981. His second pick from 1981, incidentally. What would the cottage be like without some 80s rock? A solid album that he remembers listening to on his Walkman when he was at his uncle's cottage, sitting on the deck, looking out over the water. Nothing like nostalgia.
Beautiful. As well said.
Yeah.
Well said, Rob.
Your number 9.
All right. Hey, we're cruising through. This is good. This is good.
Yeah.
Okay. I think you're
until I derail it again, which I will.
Hey, it's live. Anything can happen.
That's right.
So, Mike, you're going to appreciate my number 9. And Tim, if you're still watching, I know you're going to appreciate it too. A little Canadian fella by the name of Kim Mitchell.
Do you know as Jean-Marc?
Yeah.
Do you know as Jean-Marc?
Oh, hey, Dad. That's my dad.
Loves your mustache.
That's because I look like him. When he was my age.
Tim Derling has got us with Journey, summer of '89. Sorry for keeping derailing you.
It's all right. Hey, thanks for watching, Dad. All right. So my next album is from a little Canadian fella called Kim Mitchell. And I almost picked Akimbo Ologo, the debut. But then I was like, no. It's a great album. I love it. But for the deck, Rockland.
My birthday, '89. I got that album for my birthday. Right.
Are you serious?
I celebrated almost all my birthdays here. And that was birthday '89. I got that and Sonic Temple by The Cult.
Oh, wow. Nice. Well, yeah. Rockland. Because it opens up so beautifully with what Rockland Wonderland.
Yes. And then the bass. Boom, 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 boom.
Peter Fredette. Yes, it's a great song. And Lost Lovers Found. I don't know. I didn't used to like that song, but it grew on me. And of course, then you have the little more rockin' with Rock and Roll Duty. Yeah, so this just seemed perfect. It's got that perfect blend of mellow and rock. So
I love that album.
Yeah,
man, I'm actually physically getting chills right now from the flashbacks. That one didn't make my list, but it would have been on my runners up.
Right on.
Okay, now my number 9 is a recent pick, and this is actually only picked because of 2 weeks ago when I did Jazz Saturday on the front deck. Herbie Hancock's Quartet, another pick from 1981. What a year. Not what you'd call an easy listen, but having tested this double album on the porch, I can vouch for its veracity. My quote from my review about the song Well You Needn't. It's a nice laid-back, smoky barroom jazz, piano occasionally stealing the spotlight from the muted trumpet. This song has me seeing black and white like an old movie. Then it picks up halfway through with trumpet unmuted and drums throwing cool beats left, right, and center. And trust me, it is freaking great. Jazz Saturday was a great success because of this album, and I look forward to more jazz on the porch. In the old days, we would have the CBC radio on in the living room, and they would play jazz on Sundays. That was before I even knew what jazz was. So that's my number 9.
Very nice. Yeah, Herbie Hancock is one of the greats as far as jazz and jazz fusion. Like, I'm not a big connoisseur, but I love. There's one album of his I play over and over. Is Headhunters? I think it's called.
Yes, I know that album. Yes,
fantastic. I think it's only 4 songs long, but they're so long and progressive. And yeah, he's a genius, Herbie Hancock.
Rob Daniels brings us to number 8 with one that I'm not familiar with. It's a various artists compilation from 2006 called Rogues Gallery. So this is what he says, and this is interesting. This double album of pirate ballads, sea songs, and shanties was executive produced by Johnny Depp and features a number of artists, including Nick Cave, Sting, Lou Reed, Lucinda Williams, and here's a name I've never heard before, Jack Shit.
Never heard of him either.
Perfect for singing around the campfire or down by the water sitting on the dock. I guess sea shanties would be kind of fun to sing down at the dock.
What was this called?
Rogues Gallery. A double album of pirate ballads, sea songs, and shanties. Executive produced by the original pirate himself, Johnny Depp.
That would make sense because he probably had done 2 or 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films at this point. So
2006. Yeah, I think that was 3rd.
Yeah.
Now I when I'm done here, I'm Googling Jack Shit, but I'm kind of scared of what I'm going to find.
It's probably a pseudonym for someone.
No, he comes from the illustrious Shit family. You've heard about them, the Rockefellers, the Trumps, the Shits. And it's not spelled like Schitt's Creek. It is spelled S-H-I-T, Jack Shit, like it is not Schitt's Creek shit. It is turd shit. 4 letters. Rob, I love you, man.
Oh, my God. Oh, it was me?
Yeah, you got to follow that.
I got to follow Jack Shit. All right, let's see. I don't have anything by Bob Crap, I'm afraid. So, Fleet, okay, whoa, I almost said that. Now, my number 8, once again, kind of out of character, but I do really like this album. It's pretty much the only album of this band I know, but I like it very much. It's Rumors
Yeah.
from 77, Fleetwood Mac. I don't have to say much about this. I think everyone who knows it knows how just great it is, and it's just perfect. Secondhand news opens up, and again, I could picture myself on the deck or the dock, whatever the case may be, and just, arms back, relaxing, and Dreams. For me, that's like, this is a perfect album to listen to in the rain. I don't know if it's because of Dreams. Thunder only happens when it's raining. I don't know. Maybe that played with my mind, but I'm like, rainy day, put like a big umbrella over you, sit underneath, have a beverage, play the Mac.
Well, I can tell you that today is more like a blind melon kind of day with no rain.
Yeah. Well, we had rain all week and finally it stopped. So
your pick there, the Fleetwood Mac, that would be appreciated by both Harrison and the California girl. She would have appreciated that too. Nice. I don't know who would appreciate my number 8 though. I don't know if any of you guys like this band, but in 1995, an album came out called "What's the Story, Morning Glory" by a British quintet called Oasis, and they're in the news still to this day because the two brothers cannot. Maybe Jack's shit was actually Depp. Hey, you never know. You know what?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking too. Like a pseudonym.
Oh, is that no? I just thought maybe Dr. Catherine was pulling into her cottage, but not somebody else. Yeah, that could be. We're going to have to do some research. Hey, maybe, Mike, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind Googling this for us and reporting back in the comments?
Yes.
I'd really appreciate that.
Let us know, Mike, please.
Okay, so this is what I wrote about this album. Please don't put your life in the hands of a rock and roll band who'll throw it all away. Oasis do not get enough love on the Nigel Tufnell Top 10. In the late 1990s, why are you stopping and looking at me, guy in the van? Probably wondering why some guy's podcasting from a cottage deck. Anyway, now that little bastard's trying to get into the bag of peanuts. Sorry, I told you it was going off the rails. Oasis do not get enough love on the Nigel Tufnell Top 10. In the late 1990s, I had to look elsewhere to find new rock music that had the spirit of the old. It seemed like a lot of bands were breaking up, and a lot of bands were making low-budget albums on small labels that just, listen to some of the Quiet Riot albums from that era. Oasis were one of the first bands of the 90s that hit the spot for me. It sounds great with the lake right in front of us and green all around. It reminds me of coming here in the 90s, going on long walks with earbuds in my ears, playing the best of 90s rock, and hoping to run into some girl that would talk to me. Awesome mellow tracks and some fun banging rockers. Just fits that happy summer vibe, even though some of these songs are about like the down and outs of rock and roll and cocaine and heroin. But it's all about context and it's all about experience. And my experience was that this album works great on those dusty roads in my earbuds.
Yeah, that was a huge hit for the Gallagher brothers. That's Wonderwall is on that one, isn't it?
Wonderwall, Don't Look Back in Anger.
Yeah.
And for the record, Don't Look Back in Anger was the first Oasis I ever bought, and I partially bought it because of one of the B-sides, a little track called Come On, Feel the Noise.
A cover?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
My buddy T-Rev, who worked with me at the record store, when the single came out, he's like, why did they cover Quiet Riot? And I said, they didn't. Quiet Riot covered Slade. And that was the first time. I'm proud to be the guy who told T-Rev that was a Slade cover.
Right on.
So now we are on to Rob Daniels. Okay, Rob Daniels, number 7. Canadian content from 1988. Little album called Tell Somebody by Sass Jordan. Oh. And he feels that Sass Jordan's first album is underrated. He says it's a more poppy outing than her later albums, which got more bluesy and rocky. However, the album plays perfect on just chilling with a beer on the deck. All right. And I would like to cheer with Rob with a beer on the deck one day.
Cheers, Rob.
Cheers, Rob. That's a good number 7 there.
Yeah. So that's I know the name. I couldn't tell you any songs of Sass Jordan. Like I probably heard some, not knowing it was them. I'd have to really look them up and.
The one track that she was really getting a lot of attention for in the early 90s was, I believe, called Make You a Believer. And it was kind of compared to the Black Crowes. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, Tim Derling, tune in here. I believe Sass Jordan was one of the singers that Van Halen were interested in the late 90s. If I'm not mistaken. I know that there was a big rock band that was looking at Sass Jordan.
Really?
Yeah. Tim Derling, please chime in. And Rob is watching and says, cheers. Rob, I don't have a beer, but I will raise my Tims to you It's getting cold though.
I have some tea. No beer. Not in the office. Come on. So it's me.
Switch over to Sprite because
There you
Tim's
go.
is getting too cold.
Number 7, right?
You got it.
All right, number 7. Oh, again, this just popped in my head. After a while, I was just thinking of mellow tunes, and all these titles came to my head. A lot of them compilations, have you seen with my 2 first ones?
Yeah.
No exception. And Tim Darling, I know you're going to appreciate this if you're still tuned in. Classic, yes. Classic, yes. The title says it all. Classic. Heart of the Sunrise, like, oh man, you push play on this thing. Oh man, it's so good.
I gotta make a YouTube short of that.
It's uncanny. I tell you, that's exactly what it sounds like. No, it's a little better than my interpretation. But yeah, Wondrous Stories, my favorite. Starship Trooper, and of course, well, actually, one of my favorites is where is it? And You and I, which is like a 10-minute epic. It's just so slow and progressive and just really, really good. And then, of course, the last track, I've Seen All Good People. There's a live version. This is a live version here. And yeah, this is like, I think this was the first Yes. Yeah, this was the very first Yes CD I ever bought. And it's basically like the essential up until this point. So, and just fits perfect on a cottage setting.
I may have to add that to my shopping cart.
You don't have it?
Do not.
Oh, like 5,000.
I only own one Yes album, which is Drama.
Okay, so I don't have that one.
Okay, so I guess it's up to me now. Here's a song. Here's an album title and a title track that Deep Purple recently covered, quite unexpectedly. A little song called "The Battle of New Orleans," and for me, my exposure to this was the cassette compilation, which I also believe was called "Battle of New Orleans" by Johnny Horton. And we would play this cassette, especially side 1, in the van all the time. We had remember those minivans, and they had little cassette bins underneath the front seat, the passenger seat, and you'd open it up and you'd slide it out, and there'd be room for like 30 cassettes in there. So Johnny Horton was one of the many cassettes in that bin. And this is what I wrote. This country classic has several cottage staples that we sang loud and proud on almost every weekend as we drove into town to watch the Piper Band parade. Long story there. And also to get ice cream and candy. The Battle of New Orleans, Sink the Bismarck, and Honky Tonk Man, in particular, were the 3 big ones. As kids, we didn't care for Comanche the Brave Horse or most of Side B. As adults, it's all good. Such vivid memories driving around in the dusk with Johnny Horton on the car stereo speakers.
Nice.
And that's page 1.
Woo! I'm not familiar. I don't think I'm familiar with Johnny Horton.
If I sent you Deep Purple's cover, you might be intrigued.
Yeah. Oh, definitely I would.
Now, Rob Daniels' number 6 is an album that wouldn't have made my list, but 100% would have been on my sister Dr. Catherine's list. It was a cottage staple for her. And it's another 1988 album for Rob. This is his third 88. Glass Tiger, Diamond Sun. Another album perfect for chilling on the deck with a beverage of your choice. Also, my song makes me want to run through the woods yelling, I want to sing my song and take me home where I come from.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee we sang that. I guarantee it.
I've heard that song so many times on the radio. Never knew who it was till this very moment.
There you go.
Nice.
They had a number of good tunes in the late 80s. My favorite is it's a ballad called Watching Worlds Crumble. And I can tell you for a fact, my sister's bedroom was this one. Mine was next door. I would sing that song mockingly through the wall, and I would like hit all the sour notes. I can see the look in your eyes. And I would just do it just to piss her off, and I probably did. Thank you, Rob, for an amazing number 6.
Yes.
Follow that, Jex Russell.
Okay. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted.
I didn't expect this band to be on this list, actually, but one song came to mind. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. It's got the summer setting. We work great in the cottage. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to throw in the whole album.
Okay. Yeah!
Van Halen's.
Yeah, baby!
Yeah, hello, baby! So, why did I pick this one?
Why?
Summer Nights.
Oh, of course. And your radio.
Right, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, then I started thinking, good enough, nice rocking tune. Why can't this be love? I'm like, yeah, that would work on a dock or a deck or what have you.
Good
And
enough also has good barbecue metaphors that work for the backyard when I'm grilling.
that's true. That's true. A rack of what? Well, oh yeah, Get Up, my favorite tune on here. Kind of heavy, but not too heavy, just right for the deck. So yeah, I thought I gotta throw in at least one Van Halen on here. So I'm going with the Hagar era.
Now that's one I didn't listen to a lot as a kid, but Jen and I have definitely played that in the car on the way here and on the way home. So
right on,
absolutely,
yeah. Love it.
My number 6 is an album, again, very similar to Johnny Horton. It was in the deck, the bin underneath the car seat, and we would listen to it going into town, getting our ice cream. From 1971, Johnny Cash's Greatest Hits Volume 2. Now, this is the one that started with the legendary San Quentin version of A Boy Named Sue. So we would, we knew all the words. Bill or George, anything but Sue. But back in those days, there were lots of hits tapes available. And which one did you get? Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. We'd order them from the Columbia House catalog based on the songs that we knew. Yeah. And some of the ones that we loved were Daddy Sang Bass, If I Were a Carpenter, and Sunday Morning Coming Down. Interestingly enough, on this compilation, Cash only wrote 4 of the 11 tunes.
Oh, wow.
Did anyone care? No. Heck, those old tapes, they didn't even have credits. You opened it up and it was much like this Journey tape where you see absolutely nothing inside.
Blank, yeah.
So, we didn't know that Cash only wrote 4 of the songs, and quite frankly, who cares? He's written enough classics. We're not going to criticize Johnny Cash for not writing enough. But hearing those songs, especially Boy Named Sue, brings me right back to the old days. The log cabin next door that my sister currently occupies, that was Grandpa Winter's log cabin back then, and he had a bunk house in the backyard, and he had a turntable and a pair of speakers, and he would play records all night, and that's what it reminds me of. And that was my number 6.
That's cool. I don't think I'm familiar with Volume 2. I have Volume 1 on
which has Ring of Fire on it.
Yeah. That was from my dad's original collection. So if you're still watching, Dad, thank you.
We have a report.
Oh.
Having difficulty researching Jack's shit. By the way, you can spell it if you want. It's not going to censor you. The Amber Heard trial. Thank you for that update, Mike. Oh, shit.
That's funny.
Shit.
No pun intended. Where are we?
Number 5, Rob Daniels.
Number 5.
This year's a classic, and it's a year that we haven't heard from. Oh, no, we have heard from this year. Your album, 5150, came from this year.
Oh, 86.
The name of the compilation was Rogues Gallery from 2006. Okay, Rob's number 5 from 1986. I thought it was earlier than that, but hey, I trust you, Rob. Brothers in Arms by Dire Straits.
Oh.
Another album just perfect for chilling on the deck with a beverage of your choice. Rob, you're starting to sound. Oh wait, no, sorry, I was reading the wrong line. I was going to say you're starting to sound like an alkie, but no, I read the wrong line. When I first heard this album on a camping trip and not at the cottage, I always associated with sitting around the fire and looking up at the stars. And I can just imagine that twang, that Mark Knopfler twang, looking up at the stars.
Yeah.
That sounds like an excellent recommendation.
Oh, that's got Money for Nothing on it, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And Walk of Life?
Yes.
Yeah. That's like hit after hit. That was their big one.
His tone and the finger picking, just everything about it, it's sublime to me. And I could just, I want to listen to it looking up at the stars this weekend. So thanks, Rob. That's happening. Follow that. Jexit Stage Left.
Challenge accepted.
By the way, that was Tim Derling who coined Jexit Stage Left as the name.
Oh,
he messaged me right before the show and said, I got the best idea for a name.
Great one, Tim. Great one. I like it. All right. So follow that. Don't mind if I do. Although that's a great album, Dire Straits. But I'm going to go with a little album I think we all love. A band, rather, that we all love here on the show. Kiss. Now, which Kiss am I going to pick? Not just any Kiss, not just traditional Kiss. I'm going with a little overlooked album, underappreciated album. You know where I'm going?
No, I don't. I
Unmasked.
dude, I've listened to that album so many times here on the deck.
Yeah, there you go. See, this just kind of happened by accident because we've got this idea. I think it was Monday, right? We're Friday day. On Monday, we're like, let's do a top 11 deck song, like the deck albums. I'm like, okay. And then, I was struggling, and my kids, my two sons, I've been playing Kiss and they like it. Like they keep asking for Dynasty. I have it on vinyl and I played for them. And then we were in the car one morning and they're like, put on Kiss. And I didn't have Dynasty on MP3 with me, but I had Unmasked and I put it on. They didn't care for it too much, but I was like, this is Cottage Tunes. This fits. This fits. Like, it opens up with Is That You? And
Yes.
Candy. I'm like, these all fit. These all work.
Talk to me, hey.
Oh, my
Talk
favorite.
to me, hey.
Those Ace tunes, Talk to Me and
Two sides of the coin to choose from. And Torpedo Girl.
Torpedo Girl is the one I was getting at.
That's him playing bass on Torpedo Girl, and that's just
That's him?
that's him. Oh, Gene couldn't play that.
I didn't know. Oh, I love it. Come on, get your feet wet.
It's such a good song, and it's so intricate. It's really intricate.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they could have performed that live ever.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm trying to think like bow, bow, down, down. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, and
You know what's
I
funny?
will give Uncle Meat full credit for this. He's the one that pushed me to listen to it again and again and again and again into my later years, rather than my childhood impressions of it, which was I didn't like it back then; it was too soft. But he's the one that got me to appreciate it as an adult. So we're giving Uncle Meat full credit for my love of Unmasked. And that summer, which was I think 2020, I played it here a lot, and also in summer 88, I got it on cassette. So it was in my earphones here all the time. And I specifically remember a road trip up to Sauble Beach, which is, I don't know, maybe an hour from here north, to visit our friends, the Zabos, at a cottage they were renting. And I remember listening to it in my earphones on that specific trip. So
Nice.
there you go.
You want to know what's funny is I too used to hate that album. I think I've even cited it as the worst Kiss album at one time.
I would have as well.
Right? And now
Yep.
it's so obvious that the worst Kiss album is Psycho Circus. But that's for another episode.
Is that even a Kiss album, or is that a Paul Jean?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
We won't go there.
No.
But all that to say that you said 2020, you've gained appreciation for it. Me, it was around the same time, 2021, I think. I found this used copy and I played him like this. This is good.
It's not bad.
It's softer, but it's yeah. So,
But I think Meat has me appreciating pop a lot more. Good pop. I'm not talking about this, I don't know, BTS or whatever. I'm talking about a band like the Beaches, for example. So much melody. He's making me appreciate melody a lot more. And that album is melodic as fuck.
Let's just say it.
Let's just say it.
Right on.
My number 5 is our first and perhaps only repeat of the show, which is the Traveling Wilburys Volume 1 from 88.
Wow.
And the Wilburys entered our lives courtesy of Roy Orbison, who on a prior show, maybe in 2020, we did top concerts, and my mom saw Roy Orbison live, and it made her list.
Wow.
Now, contrary to Rob, there were a couple tunes back then that we did not care for, and they're both Dylan's. Congratulations for breaking my heart. That was one. And the other one that we didn't appreciate back then was Tweeting in the Monkey Man, we're hot up for gas. It's been up all night, selling cocaine and hash. We're kids. Bob Dylan is not the kind of artist that, we thought he was funny. This guy who's like, when he's talking, we thought he was funny.
It's an acquired taste.
And compared to the other singers on the album, like Roy Orbison and George Harrison,
Confetti?
It's a night and day. Like, his songs really did not sit as well next to the Tom Petty tunes and the others, and the Jeff Lynne, speaking of ELO.
Right.
Of course, time changes and all perspective always changes. And, other bands have covered Tweeter and the Monkey Man now, such as the Headstones. But the Wilburys will always have a place here on the front porch. They were enjoyed here as a family on a regular basis. And the acoustic rock perfectly fits the wood and pine vibe. Having said that, when Traveling Wilburys Volume 3 came out in 1990, it just didn't, the vibe was not there. And to this day, I really don't play that album. So there you go. That's my number 5, which means Rob Daniels is next with number 4. And I love his pick. About a month ago, this artist passed away, and I played his music on the deck that weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Good old Gord. Don Quixote from 1972. And he's 100% right when he says, it would not be a trip to the cottage without Gord. This album has everything, including a song about Georgian Bay, coffee, and a war protest song. We miss you, Gord.
Right on.
Thanks, Rob.
Right on. That's really good.
He keeps giving you really difficult things to follow.
Yeah, I know. Well, also, and I'm figuring, like, did I go too heavy with my picks? Like, especially are so nice and soft and calm, soothing too. That I got like Kiss and Van Halen and like, to each their own, right?
To each their own.
It is. This one's a rocking album. One of probably the best-selling albums of all time, I would say.
Really?
I think so. I feel it pops up in the wild all the time. A common album, but rightfully so.
Oh, I just bought that this year. I just bought it on Japanese import because I had to have a rare version.
Of course.
Yeah, so I just got that album.
Right. Well, I picked it up, I think, about 2 years ago. Finally, I've been seeing it for years in the $5 bin at Walmart, and finally I was like, I gotta get it. Because for me, I was like, I have the greatest hits, which has like 6 of the 8 songs, but I was like, I gotta have the full album. Agreed. Because one of my favorite songs, "Hitch a Ride," is not on the greatest hits, so it was worth for $5. And this is a 2006 remaster. Sounds phenomenal. It sounds so good. So obviously, More Than a Feeling starts out with More Than a Feeling. Again, picture it: little bonfire going, a little barbecue perhaps, brewski, More Than a Feeling.
More Than a Feeling.
Peace of Mind. Yeah, it's for a pretty long time. Right? Yeah. Oh man. yeah, that's terrific album. I think it fits. The cottage setting.
Well, you said you thought you were going too heavy. How heavy is too heavy, you ask? Well, it's all about perspective, isn't it? There's a little album that came out in 1987, and we were in holidays. Typically, we would take a week in July and 2 weeks in August. And during the July week, summer of 87, there was a band that had just released their first double live. A band that I loved and had just kind of started to seriously collect. And you have a guess.
Priest Live?
Bought at Stedman's in July of 1987. The first time I ever heard Living After Midnight, Metal Gods, and Heading Out to the Highway. Now, within months, I had Point of Entry because of this album. And a little bit after that, I had British Steel.
Nice.
But I must have played this album a dozen times or more at the lake in the summer of 87. I think I wore out the tape that summer. I was really starting to collect Priest, and that opened the floodgates, and I had to get them all. Nice. And by 1990, I think Stained Class was the last one I needed. And by 1990, I had them all.
Wow.
So even though it's kind of 80s and heavy, it does bring back the right vibes here on the porch, and volume be damned. When I played it on the porch here a few weeks ago, it was a Thursday afternoon and there was nobody around, and it just sounded amazing. I turned the front yard into an arena. I literally could walk down to the beach, and if I listened carefully, this is true, I could hear Rob Halford being like, well, oh, yeah. I could hear him from the beach.
Wow.
Sorry, Mom. But there was nobody here, so it's all good.
There you go. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I only got Priest Live this year, as you know. I found the CD, and you let me in on a little something I didn't know, which was that the original CD version that I got is edited.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. But not having heard the unedited version, I can't really tell the difference. So I still like it, but I'd like to get the unedited. I
like the stage banter stuff. I really miss it. And it really bothered me in the 80s when a lot of these albums were issued on CD without the stage banter. There's lots of examples of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true.
Geez, are we heading into the top 3?
Top 3.
Okay.
Rob Daniels, what do you got?
Takes us back in time to 1987. This particular artist is now in a major arena rock touring heritage band. Guy by the name of Lawrence Gowan. And his 1987 album, Great Dirty World. He's in Styx now, of course. Summer of 87 was his first summer away from home. He was a junior ranger up near Hearst, Ontario. I remember this. Were you with Andy Chernko? I think, did he go there as well? Or am I mixing that up? Away from planting trees, clearing brush and general labor, music filled most of our downtime. I bought the Great Dirty World cassette in a truck stop and listened to it nearly non-stop all that summer. Again, not cottage, but still fits. I agree. Forest, that counts. So I agree with Rob. That's his number 3. Gowan, Great Dirty World.
That's cool. I don't think I'm familiar with that specific Gowan. The only Gowan I really know is Strange Animal.
Yeah.
But again, here, if you're living in Canada, Gowan gets played on the radio all the time. So I probably heard some songs from that 1987 album that I'm just not aware of.
I think I have that album. I have 3 Gowan albums, and I can't remember. There's one, and I don't think it's this one. I think it's the 1989 album where Alex Lifeson plays lead guitar on the entire album, and it just has an 80s Rush vibe. Kind of reminds me of that Presto era.
Okay.
And I believe that was the 1989 Gowan album. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
What brings you to your top 3?
Man, we're cruising.
All these freaking guys on top of my coffee cup.
All right, Chipmunk Cam. Let's see him.
Oh, man. I don't think... Hang on. See, as soon as I reach for my phone, he scoots away. You want me to try the Chipmunk Cam again, though?
Yeah, we're doing good.
We're going to go for it. Okay, I'm logging in. Enter studio. I'm going to have to mute this.
Yeah.
Though, because otherwise it's a terrible echo.
I want to see this coffee addict.
Mute. Okay. Where did frick, see? He's gone.
No cameras, please. No cameras, please. I just want the coffee.
He just did. I don't know if you saw him. He just scooted off the deck. All right.
Next time.
Phone is at the ready.
Yeah, have it ready so you don't have to reach out for it. Because he thinks you got a holster with a gun, right? And he's like,
he's very, very sneaky. Very, very sneaky.
All right. I'm getting lost here. Number 3,
trois, as they say in Quebec.
Yes, numéro 3, les amis. Quite possibly one of the heaviest albums on here, I would say, along with Van Halen. A lesser known band, but I like them a lot. I was really happy to find this. This never pops up in the wild. I found this at a thrift store in Nova Scotia, I think it was, many years ago. A band called Drivin' and Cryin'.
Yes, I've heard of them. Oh, wait. We have an update on Jack Shit. The stage name of Chris Jacobson, bassist of the band The Mentors. If this is correct, he passed away in 2011. I've heard of The Mentors.
I'm not familiar. Now we know.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate your research on this.
Yeah, thank you. Now we know Jack Shit, not his real name.
We know what there you go. Chris Jacobson.
That's not his real name. He's full of shit. All right. So the album of my number 3 is called Fly Me Courageous by Drivin' and Cryin', which, again, I didn't do much preparation for this, but I think they're from Texas.
I think
it's a perfect blend of like slower melodic rock to like a little more rocking, but it's not like heavy metal. It's just perfect. Yeah. Just perfect. Like the title track, Fly Me Courageous. It's such a great tune. I recommend anyone who hasn't heard it, check out Fly Me Courageous by Drivin' and Cryin'.
Snowman's got your back on that.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Nice one. Cool. Cool.
But
minds think alike.
There he is. There he is. Did you see him?
I didn't. Oh, yes. I see him by your feet. Look at him looking for more peanuts and coffee. Give me the coffee. Where's the coffee?
He's trying to get in the house now. Anyway, so that's what oh shit.
Oh,
I removed the wrong one.
Are you giving me the all right, get on out of here, Jack. We heard
and Drivin' and Cryin' are from Georgia.
Georgia. Oh, okay, nice. Oh, one of the only states I've been to, so I should have known that. Yeah, The Innocent, great song. Let's Go Dancing, nice slower number, perfect for the deck. So I love Chain Reaction as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend this to anyone who's not familiar with it. Perfect blend.
Well, my number 3 is a repeat from this artist, and it's the album that I played a month ago. It's Gordon Lightfoot's Complete Greatest Hits from 2002 on Rhino. And the great thing about Rhino is they can take stuff from different labels and put it onto one CD.
Mhm.
So this one's great because it has a lot of early stuff, a lot of later stuff, and also Edmund Fitzgerald, which is not on Gord's Gold. It's on Gord's Gold Volume 2, but not on Gord's Gold. So this, to me, is the listen. This is the one to go for at the cottage. The acoustic music is a nice accompaniment to the creatures of the night or day. But when that stinging guitar from Edmund Fitzgerald kicks in, it's like a herald. Here's Gord. He's at the cottage and he's here to stay. So we played him on the May 12th weekend, shortly after he passed, and I played him as the sun had set over the lake. And I took a little bit of a video of that, and it was quite magical.
That's all. Yeah, I feel like you shared that video with me. It was very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I need to look more into him. I know very little. So
Edmund Fitzgerald is an amazing tune that every good Canadian should own.
Nice. So
speaking of Canadians, Rob Daniels is keeping it in Canada. His entire top 4 is all Canadian content.
Wow.
So his number 2 pick from 1981, yet again, and I knew this artist would be on his list. Stan Rogers, Northwest Passage. This is one of those albums that every Canadian should know about. It deals with history, farming, hard work, and giving it up to go to work in the oil fields in Alberta. It even laments those that have left Canada to live in the U.S. This is pretty much a perfect cottage album, laid back with just enough philosophy to help pass those quiet cottage hours.
I'm sorry to report, I don't know who Stan Rogers is. I'm embarrassed. I should be ashamed of myself.
Especially as an Easterner.
Yeah. Oh, is he from Eastern Canada?
Oh yes, he is.
Oh, yeah. Really?
There you go. I can't remember if he's from Newfoundland or not.
Okay.
Possibly. If Rob's still watching, he will be able to correct me. Actually, if my mom's watching, she'll be able to tell us where Stan Rogers is from. I cannot remember.
So what type of music are we talking about?
Folk.
Okay. Nice.
And I should mention here, there's one artist that hasn't made any of our lists yet, but is a cottage staple, and he's another East Coast man, and that was Dr. Stompin' Tom Connors. We played him a lot here. But we found the compilations that we had here just weren't consistent. You'd play them all the way through, and there was a lot of stuff we didn't particularly like as much.
Yeah. No, I've heard of Stompin' Tom.
There you go.
All right, so man, my number 2 already.
Number 2. Well, we have been on for an hour.
That's okay. That's good.
Yep. Good timing.
I'm good for another 30 minutes if you want me for that long.
Hey, man, I don't even know if I want me for that long.
All right. Oh, man. I don't even know what to say about this one. But the title track, not the title track. The opening track opens up a little heavy. You could be like, that's a little much for the cottage, but the rest of the album is just perfect. Because the opening track is but then you get into number 2, Friends. It's just like acoustic amazingness. Everything celebration day. Since I've been loving you, out on the tiles. That's it's yeah. I was listening to this morning actually in preparation, and Tangerine. That's the way. This is a beautiful album. I always label it as one of my favorite Zeppelins. I'm usually torn between that and Presence, but this is probably their mellowest, I think, from this period anyway. Lots of acoustics. Like I said, Immigrant Song opens it up very in a heavy note, but then it really like mellows down and it fits perfectly. I don't know. It just, the whole vibe of the album is beautiful, and I think it's great for the deck. So
now you're making me remember in the summer of 91, we took a trip up to Bruce Nuclear, which is the nuclear plant not too far north from here.
Okay.
And because they used to do tours, and you get really bored in the summer. So, for something to do, you tour the nuclear plant. And I remember listening to the Led Zeppelin box set, disc 4, in the parents' van on our way there, and songs like Fool in the Rain and All of My Love. And so, in through the outdoor era,
yeah,
Zeppelin. But Zeppelin were represented here that summer of 91. Oh, and geez, Stan Rogers was not from the East Coast. He's from Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh.
There you go. Same town as Mystique and the Arkells.
And Teenage Head.
Wow, that's a cool pick. Zeppelin. that brings us to my number 2, which is the predictable one. And I play this so many weekends at the cottage. Blue Rodeo, Tremolo from 97. This is probably their most mellow album. As such, it works with the quiet vibes here at the lake. There's a tune called Frog's Lullaby, second last song in the album. And, it has like frog sounds and crickets and whatnot. But it can't compete with the actual wildlife here at night. Still hits the spot. A lot of great acoustic tunes: Shed My Skin, Moon and Tree, Me and Baz, Dragon On, and Disappear. They all put goosebumps on my arms. But then at the end, Graveyard kicks in, and it's fast and heavy all of a sudden. It's almost like you're listening to a heavy metal album at the end of this album. And it's a 2:26 blowout, 2 minutes, 26 seconds, and they're gone. And it's a tune by Greg Keeler, and I love his lyrics. And I love these nervous breakdowns, and I love these new skins, and I love that you were brave enough to sleep with all my friends. Now, I was totally out of tune there, but you get the vibe.
Yeah.
You understand. And that is my number 2.
Right on. Again, a lot of things, a lot of recommendations I need to look into. I'm not as familiar. I know of Blue Rodeo, but never really looked them up.
I tell people, and I think this is true, that they're the band that I've seen the most frequently live, probably 4 or 5 times in different eras of their career. And they never play the same set, on a tour. Every tour is different. I would think every night's different for them. And they're amazing musicians. The bass player, Basil Donovan, I will tell you, in my opinion, he is the number 2 bassist in Canada. And that, who number 1 is. So that's saying something. Yeah. Basil Donovan. Look him up. He is an amazing bass player. Walking bass lines all day long. And I just love that band. I saw him for the very first time in the summer of 91 in Kitchener at a place called the COE, the Central Ontario Exhibition. And saw him again on the Tremolo tour, on so many tours, and they were fantastic. Palace of Gold, they had a horn section. Oh, love that band. Everything they do is different. They never repeat.
Nice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that brings us to Rob Daniels in number 1.
Number 1.
And he went very Canadian. An album from 1989. I thought it was earlier, but I guess he's right. 1989. The Hip with Up to Here. And he says it could only be the Hip in this position. Well, he had several albums to choose from, and you could make a good case for Day for Night and Trouble at the Hen House here. Up to Here spoke to him. For him, this is the cottage. For him, the cottage is the place to get away and relax. And Up to Here is the kind of album you can sit on the deck, close your eyes, and just be transported. And I would say that is a lot to do with the lyrical talents of Mr. Gord Downey. And that was Rob's list, which is now kindling for the fire.
Wow. Very well done, Rob.
Yeah.
My number 1. Okay. This is it. I feel like it's going to stand out like sore thumb, especially after the Hip. It's, I picked this one, not because I think it's a superior album by any means, but this one actually, as opposed to all the others, has historical, sentimental value for me, because I actually listened to it at a cottage. Real quick, when I was growing up, across the street from us was a family called the Canes, the Kane family. And they were like family to us. There were 3 boys, Matt, Jeff, and Greg, and they were like brothers to my sisters and I. And, like their parents were like parents to us, my parents to them. And we're very close. And they had a cottage at Beresford Beach in New Brunswick where they spent their summers there. And I'd spend a lot of time with them there, sleepovers, everything. And it was just great waking up to the sound of the waves at the cottage. But there was one summer, I think it was, I can't remember for sure. I'm usually good with dates. It was either summer of 95 or summer of 96. Jeff, the middle child of the Kane family, got this album on cassette. And we played it on that deck, running around on the sand, going back and forth to the water. And it's a band I've already talked about, but hey, I'm going to bring them up. I'm going to bring them up twice. Yes. Hot in the Shade, 1989. Jeff got this one on cassette, like I said, and I remember us on the deck playing it, enjoying it, but we're still pretty young, 95, 96. we were waiting impatiently, hoping to hear Rock and Roll All Night, because it was one of the few Kiss songs we knew. We're like, oh, it's a Kiss cassette. It's got to have Rock and Roll All Night on it, right?
They all must.
Not knowing at that age that this is way down the line from Rock and Roll All Night, a decade and a half pretty much. But still a special memory in my heart, and it reminds me, like, I still, because they moved away. They moved to the province of Quebec. This is like in '99. So, but we still kept in touch. But the thing is, like, the cottage is long gone, distant memories, but I still dream about that place. That's how much it was a special part of my childhood. So that had to be my number one. Hot in the Shade, memories of the Kane family at Beresford Beach.
So, quick question for you. Led Zeppelin was your number 2?
Yes.
Okay, so bizarrely, your top 2 albums are 2 albums that I associate with nuclear power plants. So we've already heard why for Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
For Kiss, Hot in the Shade, it was autumn of '89. And I don't know what the release date of that album was. Let's say November. So we were on a school field trip to the Pickering nuclear power plant. And we stopped at a mall to grab lunch. And there was, I'm going to say, Sam the Record Man in the mall. And I had no money, but I borrowed money from this other kid named Mark Zimmerman. And I bought Hot in the Shade on cassette. And then I listened to it in the bus. And went to the nuclear power plant. And I was scared shitless. They have these particle detectors that you have to pass through every so often. And to leave the facility, you have to make sure that you are not contaminated with any nuclear particles. And if you were, they took your clothes and gave you some paper clothes to wear home while they sanitized your clothes and then mailed them to you. So that was what I was terrified with. So it was my turn to pass through the scanner, and it kept going off. And then when it wasn't going off, it was saying, come closer. And I'm like, I can't get any closer. Anyway, I finally passed through the scanner and listened to Hot in the Shade wearing actual clothes on the way home.
Oh my God.
That is an album that I will also always associate with Pickering nuclear plant.
I love it.
2 nuclear picks in a row, Jex.
What are the chances?
And what are the chances of us both picking Kiss for our number 1 albums?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, wait a minute. You didn't know yet.
So can you guess which one?
Hold on. I'm thinking something like either Dynasty or The Elder.
Well, they've both been played. All of the Kiss albums have been played here numerous times, but I only wanted Kiss once on my list. I could have done all Kiss easily for my 11, but for number 1, I picked an album that summer of '86. I only owned it on one format, and that was vinyl. So I hauled my dual cassette deck and my turntable and all my cassettes, which was probably 5 of those tape cases, the portable tape cases, probably 5 of those, and all my vinyl. All my music in every format, plus the equipment to play them, stuffed in my dad's van so I could listen to them in that bedroom over there. So Kiss Alive. Back in the old days, I listened to that and Live After Death here on vinyl frequently. They were the 2 most important live albums, even though Priest Live was here. I didn't want to put Live After Death on this list and clutter it with too much metal.
Right.
But Live After Death and Kiss Alive were 2 of the most important live albums I ever played up here, and both were on vinyl. I played it backwards, in fact, or at least I attempted to play it backwards, just spinning it backwards with my finger. And, even though that album isn't really live, isn't exactly live,
right.
It sure sounded that way, especially to my 14-year-old imagination. And anytime I play Kiss Alive here, it just sounds great. It just sounds great. And like I said, there's nobody here except for the arseholes across the street. So if I played Kiss Alive now, I could hear Paul Stanley being like, "Go, Jim!" down from the beach if I wanted to. But I'm not going to, Mom. Don't worry. I'm not going to. And that's another nice thing is back then, the parents always be telling you to turn it down. Well, if it's too loud, you're too old. And I guess I'm not too old yet because I like to play it loud here.
There you go.
But I am courteous enough that if there's neighbors around, it only takes a short walk down to the road there to hear if I'm polluting the air with noise, So I am very courteous. If there's nobody around, though, it gets cranked.
Yeah, nice, man. That's a great
number
pick.
one.
Great pick. Because
I also have some runners up. Do you as well?
No, I had a hard enough time thinking of 11 titles, so that's all I got, man. But let's hear
All right.
yours.
Well, I got a few runners up. Summer of '89 again, which was like my formative summer here. It was like peak Mike with summer of '89. My uncle Don, who would stay where my grandma's cottage is, which is now my sister's. He popped over one afternoon. He was legendary for walking around in no shirt and cut off jeans. And he popped over one afternoon. He's like, "What tapes do you have that I could tape?" And I'm like, "Oh, here you go." So he borrowed a few tapes of mine, and he's like, "You want to tape any of mine?" I pulled out Alice Cooper's Greatest Hits from 1974. And I'm like, I'll tape this. So I squeezed that onto one side of a 90, and the other side later became Trash when I got that on CD. Oh, that's a good pick. Tom Petty Wildflowers is his number one. Yeah. And my good buddy Kevin Simister, aka Buried on Mars, he would probably appreciate that. Thank you for watching, Mike, by the way. I hope to see you again next week, although we're going to be in a different time next week. It's going to be 8:00 p.m. and we're going to be talking about Iron Maiden. But if that's your shtick, come see us. More Kiss. Rock and Roll Over made my runners up. I got that the same year, I think, as I got the Kiss solo albums, and I played it on my earphones. Poison, Open Up and Say Ah. Summer of '89, again, earphones. Top bunk of the I can't tell you what it was like sleeping in the top bunk of a bunk bed, right with your head next to the window, all the sounds, the breeze. Man, it was amazing. White Lion, Big Game, got that right here in this very location in the summer of '89. In the summer of '91, we were raising hell. We were shit disturbers to Extreme 2, Pornograffiti.
Oh, yes. One of my favorite albums.
We were bad boys that summer. We were loud and annoying.
Who were the bad boys? Plural. Who were the
my
boys?
buddy Bob. You've seen my buddy Bob.
Oh yeah.
My cousin Jeff, aka Captain Destructo, and me. See, there's a story here. It was I've already told you the story of how my cousin got his ear pierced and the other two of us backed out. It was all the same week. And what happened was we were on that 1 week holiday in July. And all of a sudden, into the driveway pulled in my buddy Bob. And my parents like, "Is Bob here?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's his car." So I ran out to meet him. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to be spending the week with you guys." He's like, "I just got a job for the summer, and I decided to take my last week of free time and spend it with you guys at the cottage." And he was always welcome. That was never an issue. He was always welcome. The only issue was my cousin Jeff was also going to be visiting that week with his family. And I was not getting along with my cousin Jeff that summer. He was annoying the shit out of me. But we had a good time. We raised hell. We rode around in Bob's car with the windows down playing Pornograffiti, He-Man Woman Hater. Wholehearted.
Yeah.
Bob really loved When I'm President. That was his favorite scene.
Me too. I remember it well. I was just about three.
Yeah. Do you want to be? So because of that week that we had that album, I ended up getting it for my birthday 2 weeks later. Because I was like, I need that album. And so I got it on CD for my birthday from my cousin Jeff. But we raised hell that weekend. We canoed out. There's a rock way out on the lake. And we canoed out to that rock. And we dropped our pants and mooned the shore. Now, you couldn't really see anything. You couldn't really see anything from the shore. You couldn't tell, but we did it. We knew.
That's the important thing.
We knew that we did it. And then that was the same summer, the same week as the Led Zeppelin nuclear power plant trip. And Bob and I were so obnoxious. We didn't heckle. What do you call it? We did the running commentary track to the poor tour guide. You know what I'm talking about. Tour guides doing their thing, and me and Bob are just like, "Oh yeah, look over there," and "Oh yeah, how about that?" Like they were talking about how there's a wildlife preserve within the grounds of the nuclear power plant, and occasionally, if you're lucky, you'll see a deer. And then all of a sudden, Bob goes, "There's one right now. It has 3 eyes."
Were you doing this like loud enough for everyone to hear? Or?
That was the point.
Oh my god.
Oh crap. Oh man, this has been a hell of a show.
Yeah.
Have you enjoyed your stay at the cottage this afternoon?
Oh, are you kidding me? I had a blast.
I had a blast too, man. Thanks so much for doing this.
Hey, thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing me along to the cottage with the chipmunks and the sunshine. It's not sunny here.
We will do it again sometime soon.
Definitely.
Maybe a different time slot. Maybe this time slot. We don't know. We don't know where the summer's going. We'll see.
Will I have a mustache? What will my facial hair have to offer?
Will he be clean shaven? Will he be bearded? Will I be bearded? We don't know. At some point during summer, I usually shave it down to the wood. So we're going to see that happen. We're going to see that happen probably in August. Right, but I can tell you next week at 8:00, we're planning to do an Iron Maiden show. Just appreciation and showing off some of our collectibles with Harrison Kopp and Aaron Stewart, who you have not met yet, but you will see him next week on this show. And then the following week, I'm hoping to do a show about Hamilton's Arkells with superfan Nurse Cat. I'm hoping. I have her penciled in. It's just a matter of her availability.
Cool.
And you have the Distortion Den coming up next week.
Yes. So next Saturday, which I believe is the 17th of June, we're looking at what are we looking at?
Well, you posted the schedule. Jex Vinyl World on Facebook and find the schedule.
There you go. Yes, that's what you have to do. You got to go to my page, Jex Russell's Vinyl World.
But no, typically there'll be 2 albums that have something in common, maybe a year, maybe a band member, but there will be 2 albums that go head to head.
Yeah, these are 2 alternative rock albums. We'll be looking at Stone Temple Pilots' Core going up against Pearl Jam's 10. And we're actually going to have a guest speaker, if you will, Proby, which is one of Deke's friends. Okay. Never met him before, but him and I are going to go head to head while Deke kind of
really? So he's going to be more like the Emperor.
Yes.
Strings, and you are Anakin, and he's Dooku.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Could be fun. So
I love it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all that's going on for me.
Well, as you know, we always like to end every show with a song.
Yes.
Do you have anything specific you want to hear?
Well,
I know you like Max the Axe.
I've been liking Max the Axe. What's the one? God's on the Radio is a favorite, but I'm open.
No, we did play that last time you were on.
Oh, okay. Well, if you have, let's keep up with the theme of the cottage. If you have anything mellow,
maybe? I do, and it's a song that was recorded right here at the cottage, technically, because in the summer of I think it was 2021, we had a local artist from Hamilton again, Mr. Jacob Moon, on the show. And Jacob Moon was kind enough to perform a Steve Earle song for us. So if you would like to hear it, I will present to you Mr. Jacob Moon with Steve Earle's Someday.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We will see you next week at 8 p.m. and you will catch him on the Distortion Den and his mustache. Well, maybe not the mustache. We don't know. We'll see. You'll have to watch the Distortion. Well, you have a wonderful weekend, my friend, and we will talk soon. Here's Mr. Jacob Moon from Hamilton, Ontario with Someday. Take care, folks. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
I'm gonna play us out with a song that's for Mr. Eric Litwiller here, and for the good old times of living in Kitchener-Waterloo and all that good stuff.
Awesome.
And this is a Steve Earle song. All right.
Yeah.
Because I know that Eric is right into Steve Earle, or was.
Big time.
We both are.
All right.
We both are.
All right. So here it is. It goes something like this. There ain't a lot that you can do in this town. Drive down to the lake and then you turn back around. Go to school so you can learn to read and write. So you can walk into the county bank and sign away your life. I work at the filling station on the interstate. Yeah. Pumping gasoline and counting out of state plates. You ask me how am I sent to Memphis, son, and where's the nearest beer? Well, they don't even know that there's a town around here. Someday I'm finally gonna let go. I know there's a better way. I wanna know what's over the rainbow. I'm gonna get out of here someday. Now, my brother went to college 'cause he played football. Me, I never even got through high school at all. Got me a 67 Chevy, she's low and sleek and black. Someday I'll put her on the interstate and never look back. Yeah. Someday I'm finally gonna let go. I know there's a better way. Well, I wanna know what's over the rainbow. I'm gonna get out of here someday. I'm gonna get out of here someday.
Wicked.
Beautiful team, man. Awesome.